Chapter 2, How to Embrace Your Gift. Empaths are like emotional superheroes. Their lightened sensitivity helps them go beyond what people say and sometimes even beyond what people do. Moreover, their intuition is frequently out of this world, helping them see beyond the present and almost predict the future from certain perspectives. Many of your qualities, even beyond that of an empath, should make you feel proud of who you are. After all, not everyone can say their sensitivity allows them to become another person if just for a moment or possess the kind of intuition that helps you make educated choices. As shown in the later half of the previous chapter, this gift has its downsides and some can be extremely serious. That doesn't mean you should give in to fear and or accept a fate dominated by anxiety, sadness, loneliness and pain. Like every other psychological trait, yours can be molded to focus on the advantages and help you avoid any obstacles. This chapter is about helping you embrace your gift because, yes, being an empath should be perceived as nothing less than that. You have a tremendous talent. You can connect to people at levels nobody else can. That makes you one in a million. And in many ways, that makes you the very hope of humanity onwards. There is true power in emotion, and there is strength in understanding that emotions and empathy are the keys to a world that is a healthy, honest, and a more inspiring place for future generations to thrive. So, how do we get there? Accept yourself. Fighting nature is not only futile but it can be disastrous. You cannot pretend you don't have feelings, and you cannot deny that you sense what others feel. You cannot lock yourself inside and never allow experiences to come into your life. These characteristics are what define you as an empath. The best thing to do for yourself and those around you is to accept yourself as you are. Social standards might not agree with you and your heightened sense of emotional sensitivity, and some people may find you too much. But that's okay. As an empath, you likely find the average person too much for you. Accepting yourself at your best and worst is one of the most powerful things you can do for your mental and physical health. It is, in fact, the first step to make towards managing the downsides of being an empath and learning how to live in a balanced way. Look at yourself and analyze what you see. How are you defined? What characteristics are you proud of? How can you improve the ones you are ashamed of? Be honest. It might be uncomfortable at first and you want to just think about good things. Try to fight that. Look at yourself in the mirror and figuratively strip down to your soul and accept what you see in all its splendor and uniqueness with the same compassion you show others so frequently. Trust you. Although empaths tend to have a tremendous intuition and some even have a very good sense of what is to come, they don't always trust themselves. A lack of self confidence can attract a series of problems in your personal and professional life. At the same time, a lack of self confidence is not a chronic condition to live with, it can be worked on. What you have to do first and foremost is to start trusting yourself. Have faith in your abilities, trust your knowledge, instincts, and trust your very person. It is a crucial step in embracing yourself as you are and learning how to live beautifully as an empath. The following are some tips to help you build more self confidence. Number 1. Spending time by yourself will likely come naturally, but instead of falling into a black hole of social media content and bad TV, try to find activities that empower the mind, the body, and your understanding of the self. Read beyond the fiction genre, watch documentaries online, exercise, play a sport, or practice a form of art. These are great ways to rediscover who you are. Number 2, set realistic goals. Some people believe that setting insanely high goals will motivate them to work hard and always reach for more. However, that is not entirely true. In fact, setting attainable goals will only make you more likely to make progress. This will reinforce your belief in yourself. Number 3, build on your strengths. Empaths or not, we all have elements where we excel and where we sometimes fall flat. If you focus on the latter, you will never have the time or the energy to build on the things that set you apart. So instead of telling yourself, I can't do this, and make an excuse. Start telling yourself, I can't do this right now, but if I improve, I'll be able to. This is a basic example, but hopefully it shows you how to rewire your thoughts to be beneficial. Number 4. Be kind to you. Indeed, empaths are naturally compassionate to those around them. However, they are not always as understanding when it comes to themselves, making it harder to trust their superpower. Number 5. Be yourself. You might be quirky to some and insufferable to others. Although your empathic tendencies make you want to be liked by everyone and less likely to show your true nature. The truth is that you don't owe anyone. Let go of judgment and just be you, even with all the ups and downs. Love yourself. For an empath, there is nothing more natural than loving everyone else and being equally overwhelmed by everyone else's emotions and energy. As odd as it might sound for someone who is not an empath and has not interacted extensively with one, empaths don't find it just as easy to love themselves. There are many underlying causes of this. On the one hand, empaths are prone to forgetting who they really are. In between trying to make everyone happy and being overloaded with uninvited energy, empaths find it easy to forget about the main priority. As such, empaths can find it quite easy to forget to eat, drink water, or cover basic hygiene. Even more, empaths can find it shockingly easy not to love themselves. On the other hand, empaths can also grow dark. Most people associate empaths with angelic beings that are thoughtful and forgiving. But the harsh truth is that being an empath can drain you to a point where you become remorseful and bitter. When that happens, an empath might find it even more difficult to find value in their ability. Loving yourself is not an option, and empaths need to hear it more often, as self love can act as a shield against waves of negative emotion. Process your energy. Feeling someone else's energy can become problematic in certain situations because it can be hard to distinguish between outside energy. This uncertainty can make you prey for energy vampires. Even if you manage to avoid these kinds of people as an empath, your entire body and mind are an energy hub that never stops working and you are doing it indiscriminately. This can wear down even the toughest soul. You have to create an energy system that allows you to replenish as often as possible and block out as much external energy as well. Take notes on how much is overwhelming and make sure you continue to do things that help you process your own energy and pain. When managed correctly, your ability to absorb energy from those around you can help you discover the essence of true self acceptance. When you learn how to manage the energies coming towards you as well as those you release, you also learn how to not have to shut down and not lash out when you are being triggered. It takes time to learn how to work with all these concepts, but with the right effort, it can make all the differences in the world. Learn what troubles you most. Not all empaths are the same. Some will be triggered by violence in real life or the movies. Others will not be touched by this. They might not like it, but they will not be triggered. Some empaths can be set off by a powerful fragrance or a certain color. Some will react to vegetation and others only deal with humans. It is of paramount importance for you to be aware of what troubles you the most. Knowing what your limits are will help you distance yourself from the potential triggers and it will help you better manage the negative side of being an empath. Same as with learning how to process different energy. Learning what triggers you the most can take time. Try keeping a daily journal and mark any troubling or upsetting activity that occurs with your reaction level. Awareness will help you determine the pattern behind all of it. And as such, it will also help you better manage these triggers and how you act. Remember, we are all different and you might not be triggered by the same things as other empath or simply another human being. That's okay. You are the one who has to live with these fears and triggers, so make sure you make your peace with what agitates you and learn how to live with them. Communicate. Empaths can be excellent communicators and sometimes they might even naturally lean towards a career in this field. The reason they interact so well is because of their natural listening abilities, and this makes it extremely easy for them to send and receive messages across wavelengths and channels. And yet, even with the natural born communication talents empaths possess, they find it difficult to talk about their feelings and what troubles them. They might think others will see them as weak or don't want to bother someone else with their problems. So these frustrations and energies pile up. Learning how to communicate about the things that bother you is important to progression, as it is the only way to inform those around you that they can do to make you feel better. Speaking up will also help you become more accepting of your personality and this rare typology. You are not a victim. Empaths are hurt very easily and sometimes indirectly. You don't have to intentionally set out to hurt an empath to make them feel bad. Sometimes they already feel drained and low because of someone else's pain, or they have been around people who emanate negativity. If you experience this kind of emotion, understand that you are not a victim. Believing this can permanently instill that mentality in your decision making and subsequent actions. There are only a few steps from this point of thinking and falling under the abuse of someone close to you, or succumbing to the pressure you put on yourself. You are a highly sensitive person who takes things personal, but you can protect yourself from these pains and negative emotions. You have the power to create shields when they are needed and take down when you feel that is the right. You are a warrior who is constantly facing the battle of emotions and energies. You are capable of truly understanding what people feel and think, all while coming up with the best solutions to help them. Practice deep breathing. The effectiveness of deep breathing isn't a new concept, but it can help you control your anxiety and your emotions. Studies from Gerritsen Band 2018 show that deep breathing is connected to vagus nerve activity. For a bit of background, the vagus nerve is part of the parasympathetic nervous system, regulating the activity of the heart, breathing, and digestion. According to the polyvagal theory, Wagner 2016, the same nerve is responsible for curbing anxiety, fear, and fight or flight reactions in humans, as a reminiscence of prehistoric times when humanity faced exponential danger every day. Deep breathing can activate the vagus nerve, which activates your body's soothing systems. So, when your heart begins to race and you feel anxious, the vagus nerve will slow things down and bring you back down to a state of rest. Because of the vagus nerve is also linked to breathing, it is assumed that slow, controlled breathing can activate the vagus nerve. These are just a few explanations of how deep breathing can help you control panic or anxiety attacks, as well as a series of reactions you might get when you feel overwhelmed as an empath. While the theoretical explanations of how this exercise works are not conclusive, one thing is for certain: people who practice deep breathings see results. There is no one correct way to breathe deep, and most people will do it instinctually. Try laying down or standing up straight and deeply inhale through the nose using your diaphragm, the top of your stomach. Hold your breath for about 10 seconds and exhale slowly. Repeat for a few minutes until you feel calm. Meditate. Meditation is beneficial for empaths because it helps them center, find their core of energy, and distance their emotions from those of other people. In itself, meditation is both a deep breathing exercise and an exercise of the mind. It helps you take control of your thoughts and use your body to train a reliable support system you can call upon when needed. There are many types of meditation, and most of them bring a similar range of benefits. Reduce stress levels, help with anxiety management, strengthen emotional health, help fighting addictions, help manage depression, reduce age related loss of memory, help you be kinder and more compassionate. The most common types of meditation include progressive relaxation, involves slowly relaxing different parts of the body with soothing music or candles, and sometimes under the guidance of a recording or another person. This type of meditation will help you focus on your breath and your body. As such, it will help you release stress and anxiety and find your center of balance as well. Kundalini Yoga. At the crossroads between yoga and meditation, Kundalini Yoga focuses on releasing the Kundalini energy located at the base of spine. To achieve that, you will have to practice some poses combined with deep breathing and mantras. It is the same as progressive relaxation. Kundalini Yoga helps you get a hold of your thoughts and your anxiety and train your body. Zen meditation is perhaps the most common image you get when you think of seated contemplation. It involves sitting still with your legs crossed or in the lotus position and focusing inwards. Most times, this is done by counting deep breaths and trying to eliminate all rough thoughts. Transcendental meditation. This type of meditation is quite similar to Zen meditation, with the main difference is its purpose to transcend beyond the material. It involves a mantra and that can be focused on very every time a different thought slips into your consciousness. Very frequently, transcendental meditation connected to spiritual and religious ceremonies. Some types of prayers in Christianity are considered forms of transcendental meditation, such as rosary beads prayers, for example. Guided meditation. This is often done either under the guidance of a therapist or under the guidance of a recording like YouTube, audiobooks, or even DIY recordings for those with experience. Sometimes guided meditation and progressive relaxation meditations are combined. Not all types of meditations are suitable for everyone, and that's more than okay. It is generally recommended to try out as many options as you can to determine which suits you the best. Center yourself. Centering yourself is something you have to do as an empath. It can help many types of people, indeed, but it tends to be particularly helpful in the case of empaths because it creates distance between the emotions of others and allows them to focus on themselves. Centering yourself is also known as grounding, precisely because the exercises and techniques meant to help you with this are based on bringing you inwards and helping you move past the constant and uncontrollable absorption of energies and emotions that do not belong to you. These are There are multiple ways to ground yourself. Here are a few practices to get you started. Number 1. Exercise. Walking out is an act of focus first and foremost. When you exercise, it's just you and your body, even if you participate in group classes, for example. Furthermore, exercising helps you learn how to control your body in a different way while retaining focus. It enables you to ground yourself in the moment and truly allow yourself to just be, despite what is going on around you. In addition to all this, exercising is healthy for the body and the mind, so it is the best thing you can do for yourself. Number 2, take a bath. Long hot baths are a great way to unwind after a long or exceptionally testing day. Add bath salts or oils to match your mood, and your baths will become more than just a luxury. Allow it to calm your state of mind. Feel how you feel in that moment and detach yourself from the outside world. Number 3. Spend time in nature. As we were saying before, empaths are naturally drawn to nature and wide open spaces. Tracking down a new path in your favorite park or strolling on the beach can help you get closer to you by achieving clarity and peace of mind. Number 4. Play. It could be a video game, a board game, or simply something childish you do on your own. Whatever it is, though, simply allow yourself to be in the purest and most innocently foolish way. The whole point is to allow yourself to be a kid, however, that might translate to you. Number 5. Have sex. In many ways, sex is both a mental and a physical exercise as it allows you to release tension, relieve stress, and reconnect to your body. Sex is a healthy activity, not to mention quite pleasurable. Number 6. Arts and crafts. Practicing any form of arts and crafts is a great way to reconnect to your inner self. You don't have to worry about it being artistic or even aesthetic though. Just play around, choose your medium and your materials, and allow your inner artist to go wild. Painting, sculpting, knitting, do whatever suits you best. 7. Restful sleep. This might sound like the most basic tip, but the truth is that it can make a world of difference. Getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night and keeping it consistent will revitalize your day. Uninterrupted sleep hours allow your body to be healthy and your mind to stay focused and detached at the same time. Number 8. Avoid addictive substances. Alcohol might seem like a temporary refuge for empaths who feel overwhelmed or want to interact with other people without feeling overwhelmed with outside emotions that do not pertain to them. However, this is just another escape, a shortcut to take responsibilities or things you feel out of your control. Excessive use of alcohol can be hazardous for your long term physical health and will throw off any progress you have made with your mentality. Avoid using substances as a way to feel numb, and you will be able to stay grounded and focused on the things that matter. Number 9. Practice affirmations. This might not be for everyone, but some people swear by this habit. Saying positive affirmations in the mirror or when you wake up can help you focus on what matters for you, and it can help center yourself as the day progresses. Some examples of affirmations empath could use include the following: I promise to honor my sensitivity and treat myself kindly. I promise to explore my empathetic gifts and make the most out of them. I will communicate about my sensitivity with those around me, for this is the best way to protect myself and others. I will make the most out of my sensitivities to become better for myself and those around me. Read for fun. Reading is not only a great way to escape stress, the mundane, and the pain of having to absorb anyone else's suffering and emotions, but they are a great way to practice your focus and your cognitive abilities. In turn, this will also help you ground easier when you need it and return to a neutral state instead of continuously attracting other people's energies. Journaling. Prompt based journaling can help you rediscover yourself and create a healthier mindset. Basically, prompt based journaling means writing in a journal based on different prompts such as happy memory of your childhood, a moment when your empathetic nature hurt you, or a moment when you made someone else's day better. Prompt based journaling can help you learn more about who you truly are, which in turn will also help you ground yourself and disconnect from others when necessary. If you don't like the idea of prompt based journaling, you can just try writing freely in a journal as regularly as you can. It will still help a lot. If prompted journaling does not suit you, that is completely fine, as there are other types of journaling available out there too. For example, these ones are quite popular: bullet journaling, used for organizing plans and ideas as well as track moods. For example, dream journaling, where you add your dreams in a journal. This is particularly useful for those empaths who might have troubling recurring dreams. For example, goal journaling, where you write about your goals and what you are doing to achieve them. Free journaling, where you just write about your feelings. Gratitude journaling, where you write about things that make you feel grateful. Sometimes this type of journaling is combined with prompt based journaling. These are just some methods you can use to ground yourself. Remember, everyone is different, so you might not find all these ideas to work for you. It's okay to feel that something is not right for your particular situation or lifestyle. Try something new or make it into something all your own. There is no exact science on how to do this the right way. You are the only one who can reshape your life from here. So try out these methods, see what suits you, and go with it. Call upon your spiritual shields. Same as some of the grounding techniques presented in the previous section, this specific method of embracing your empathy and learning how to live with it might not be for everyone. If you are a spiritual person, it might be worth giving it a try, as many empaths are quite happy with the results. This involves choosing a person or an animal you can mentally call upon when you feel rushed by other people's emotions. Everyone does this differently, but most empaths choose to say a mantra that helps them regain control and feel protected. For instance, your spiritual shield might be a lion. When you feel overwhelmed, you could say something along the lines of, I call the lion my spiritual protector to be here with me and shield me from the negativity. Releasing negative energy. The easiest way to release bad energy is by replacing it with something positive. Anytime you feel overwhelmed by negativity or a wave of negative emotions from an outside source, think of how you can turn it around and make it a positive experience. For instance, if you have to attend a party and you don't feel exactly entirely sure how this scenario will play out, instead of lingering on all of the ways it can go wrong, instead think of the positive outcomes of branching out. Calling a friend you cherish to join you in support can also lighten the anxiety. Don't allow harmful energy to pile up in your mind and your soul. Most of the techniques we described in the section dedicated to grounding yourself can be used to release tension. Again, try each one and see what you like best. It is the only way to find out what truly works for you. Set boundaries. Setting boundaries can be extremely difficult for empaths for reasons that are easy to understand if you are one or if you live with one. Setting confines comes naturally to most people as a way of protection or creating a bubble around themselves. However, in the case of empaths, this can be difficult when you are regularly distracted by feelings of the outside world and forget about your own well being. It sounds odd for someone who has never had to face this kind of problem, and not only do empaths find it hard to set boundaries, but they may not understand or feel comfortable with the concept. And yet, boundaries can save you from being swept into the sea of emotions and energy that are not yours, precisely because they set a figurative bubble around your senses and your body and allow you to function normally. How to do this? Here are some tips which are very important. Number one, recognize and name your limits. As we were saying before, taking the time to know yourself and what you don't like is important. Boundaries are directly influenced by how much you know yourself. Precisely because knowing what bothers you means you can name it and fully recognize it in both yourself and others. Number two, be straightforward. You might feel like you are hurting someone's feeling if you just tell them that you are not okay with something they are doing. However, chances are they will be happier knowing what irritates you so they can avoid doing it in the future. Be polite and kind but always straightforward. Simply tell them you do not feel comfortable when they do something. Number 3, let go of fear and guilt. Not only are these the biggest roadblocks on the path to success of any kind, but they will prevent you from setting healthy boundaries. When you are afraid to say how you feel because you think it is going to hurt people, or if you feel guilty for expressing what they did and bothers you, you're dismissing your own feelings in place of theirs. That habit only stunts growth. Number 4, put yourself first. It might be the hardest thing to do for an empath, but it is an absolute necessity. Prioritize yourself before you prioritize others. If you want to compare this to the instructions you get on an airplane. In case of something going wrong, you are supposed to put on your mask first and then help the person sitting next to you. You can keep on helping others if you don't help yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Counseling and support groups can help you understand why you have such a big problem with setting boundaries. Furthermore, they can give you the strength to start doing this for yourself. Number 6, follow through with your statements. If you have told someone you are not okay with them doing something, make sure you remind them if they keep on doing it. Assertiveness is seldom a quality of empaths, but it is a one they can build little by little with time. Number 7, start small. You don't have to set big boundaries from the very beginning. Start small with telling your coworker when you don't like an insensitive joke or want to gossip about others in the workplace. Accepting who you are is not always easy, especially in case of empaths. It takes hard work and conscious practice to manage the least advantageous characteristics of your personality and typology. Once you do, however, you open that gate to so much more. These are not just random encouraging words to boost ego, they are the facts at the foundation of success. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon in chapter 3, which is very interesting: manipulation, emotional intelligence, and narcissism.